Right. Good morning. It's still in the morning. It's not yet 12, so it's still in the morning. Afternoon starts at 12 o'clock. Okay? Right, so good morning, class. Yes, good morning, class over there. How are you? Right, last week we didn't manage to have our lesson. We are continuing with our lesson on transportation system in plants. Something wrong with the signal. Okay, we are going on with our lesson looking at transportation system in plants. So what we are going to be looking at today, we are going to be looking at the structures that help us the structures that help us in the transportation system. Hey, those who are talking, can you be quiet? Hey, boys, can you pay attention? Right, so we talked about diffusion and osmosis, the last lesson that we had, which showed how substances move from regions of high concentration to regions of low concentration in diffusion. Then from osmosis, substances were moving from a region of low to high. So we said that the same process is the one that is used by trees or plants, like the one you see here. That's a plant on the diagram. It uses the process of osmosis or diffusion to move substances up into the tree, like water and nutrients. Then we also have food that is made in the leaves that needs to be moved to different cells, the growing cells, and the storage part of our plant. So this is the basics that we are going to be talking about. We have the xylem, okay, so the basic parts that we are going to be talking about is the xylem and the phloem, which are found in the trunk or the roots of a plant. And these are tiny pipes that move fluids. So we'll switch on to our notes now. Okay, so we are looking at the characteristics of xylems and phloems in dicotyledon and monocotyledon roots and trunks. So to start off with, we are going to start with the vocabulary, the basic words that we need to learn, the vocabulary. So we are going to start with the first word. The first word, where my cursor is pronounced as follows: xylems. Xylems. This is how we pronounce the word. Can we all pay attention and read the word xylem? Everyone? Again? Right. We are going to find out how it looks like when I will show you the video. Then the next one is phloem. phloem. Right. Then the next one is the stoma. The stoma. Right. Then the next one is the palisade layer. Palisade layer. Right. The next one is dicotyledon. 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 Right. We are going to find out what is a di. What is, because there is a difference between the next one, monocotyledon. Monocotyledon. Right, the difference between the two, mono means one, nweng, okay? So it means that that part has got one xylem and one phloem together. Then dico, it means there are many, okay? Two or many xylems and phloem. That's the difference between dico and mono. Then the last one we are going to have is transpiration. Transpiration. Can we all say that? Transpiration. Okay, there is another term that I forgot to write there. You are going to find it in the video, translocation. They work hand in hand. So these words that we've talked about here have got a role to play in the transportation of substances in a plant. So what I want you to do, did you get these notes last week? There is a boy that I gave these notes to share online. Did you get them? Did you get the notes? Okay, if you didn't, now can we copy the notes quickly? Let's write now. Leo. Next week, I'm going to give you a spelling test, a reading test of the vocabulary. All the words that we learned in basic science next week, I'll be giving you scores for the words. I'll give you scores for the words from the neutrons, the metal, all the vocabulary that we have learned this term. I'm going to give you a reading test for the vocabulary. A reading test for the vocabulary, so that I test whether you now understand the basic words, that the basic terms that we have in science related to the topics that we learned. So we are going to have words on the atom. We are also going to look at matter. We are also going to look at the cells. We'll come to the transportation system and so forth. So we will need to revisit and know how to pronounce them and what they mean. Okay, can we quickly write down? If you are slow, you just use your phone, then you copy from your phone when we change the slide. So you're going to find that the xylem and the phloem is found in the roots. You will find it in the trunk. You will find in the leaves. Wherever substances are required in the plant, they are the transportation system. They are the vessels like the human arteries and veins that move the blood around the body carrying nutrients, oxygen, then carbon dioxide, which is exhaled through the lungs, and the waste that is excreted out of the body. Right, are we finished? Right, so we'll move the slide. So we are going to start by looking at the phloem. Can you write the word phloem? This one. The phloem. Okay. Have we copied it? The phloem. Right, so this is the structure of a phloem. I want you to write the word phloem and look at the basic structure of a phloem. This is how it looks like. They are tiny pipes. Do we understand what is a pipe? A pipe, okay, the pipe that brings water in a tap. Now I don't know where to get an example. A pipe, I don't have a pipe in here. A pipe is something that where fluid moves, water, okay? Right, anyway, we are going to look at the video, don't worry. So, if you look at the picture, there are some tiny pipes which are found when we cut a tree and place the part under microscope. This is what we are going to see. Tiny pipes that moves fluids up and down the tree. Right, I want you to copy this in your books. Can we copy this? Can we draw that? It's simple. Can we draw it and write phloem? It's a phloem. The phloem, can we copy it? In your books. Use your red and blue pen. You can draw that. Simple. Those small shells are very simple to draw. Okay, can we do that quickly? Leo. Yeah. Oh, let's hurry. Our time is limited. We don't have time. Okay, if you have a phone, you just take a photo, then you draw later. If you are not that fast. Right, so this is what we have for the phloem. You can finish up later. Then we go on to the xylem. Yes, our time is limited. Can we write this, the word, the xylem? Let's learn to be fast. Let's learn to write quickly. Leo, Leo. Yay. I said write the word xylem. This one, can you write this? Right, so this is how the xylem looks like. Yes. Wadru. Yeah, wadru. Yes, the xylem. Let's hurry, let's hurry. Okay, are we finished? You are talking, can you write? Right, one more minute. Yes. Just one more minute, then we move on. Right, so that's that. Now, okay, it's okay. Right, now let's look at the description of these structures. Right, yes. Okay, phloem and xylem. These are complex tissues that perform transportation. These are complex tissues that perform transportation. When we say complex, we're saying these things are peculiar, they are special, they have a special role, which is different from other structures. They are tissues or vascular muscles, or simply pipes. I am failing to get a better word for you to understand what a pipe is, so that you could understand in Thai. I'll try to look for the word in Thai so that I will be able to help you. Right, so they are the vascular tissue of the plant. Right, what is the function of the phloem? Right, the phloem's function is transportation of food and nutrients such as sugar and amino acids from leaves to storage organs and growing parts of plant. So you find that the function of the phloem is to take the food that is produced in the leaves through the process of photosynthesis. photosynthesis happens in the leaves, and the food that is made in the leaves has to be moved to different cells of the plant for it to keep on surviving, for the supply of the required nutrients for the growth of the cells. And if we link this with the processes of osmosis or diffusion, you find that that is how the substances now from the leaves leave the cells where food is produced and move down the phloem into other cells through the cell membrane, the cell wall, cell membrane, to go and perform the special task. Right, are we finished with this? You two. Hey, I want to show you some more stuff here for you to understand. Let's be fast. I said if you are slow, you just use your phone. You can take a photo, then you copy from your phone. Okay, it's just these two paragraphs and we are done. Then we go on to explain with the video. Please hurry up. Okay, now we look at the function of the xylems. Okay, the xylem, it is responsible for transportation of water and mineral from roots to aerial parts of the plant. So transportation of water and minerals from roots to aerial parts of the plant. As I showed you the plant that we have, the aerial parts are the top parts of the plant. Right, this movement of substances is called translocation. Trans, it means movement. So it's the movement from one place. Location means a place. Location means a place. So translocation, it's moving from one part to the other. Right, are we finished? Yes, some are finished. Can we just try to hurry a little bit? Right, are we finished? Okay, now let me show you the video that can give us an example of what we are talking about. So let's pay attention.
We could just say movement of water and minerals.
Right, so this is what we were talking about when we said inside the plant there are some pipes, tiny pipes, where fluids move, okay? So this one is a depiction of a xylem, and this one is the phloem. So there are tiny pipes inside the plant where fluids are going up and down. So these tiny dots represent water, which is carrying some minerals up. And here you are going to find that there are two dots, the white and the black, showing that there is movement going up and down. So I want you to watch closely what will be happening. This is the transportation, the movement of substances.
And movement of glucose and amino acids. But this is science, and so we like to have special terms to describe these processes. In this three-part video, we are going to look at the transport systems in plants for moving food, water, and minerals around. We have a beating heart and circulating blood, but what do plants do? Cut a plant open.
Okay, now if you look here, the human being has got a heart, a pump, that pumps blood to circulate in different parts of the body. But if you look at a tree, a plant doesn't have a heart. It uses those processes that we're talking about, the diffusion and the osmosis process of moving substances using the phloem and the xylem. Right, here in the body we've got arteries which send blood to the body, and veins which send the blood back to the heart. Okay, so let's make sure that we observe that.
And it doesn't bleed. So what happens instead? Plants have their own systems. They have a xylem, which moves water and solutes from the roots to the leaves.
Can we pay attention?
Which moves glucose, made in the leaves by photosynthesis, and amino acids to the rest of the plant. Here are the xylem, and here are the phloem. Notice how the arrangement is different in the stem and the roots. The xylem and the phloem are found in groups called vascular bundles, and the position of these bundles changes for different parts of the plant. Both the xylem and the phloem.
Can we pay attention to what is there? Can you pay attention? Or else I will not play the video. If you don't pay attention, then we just switch it off.
Are made up of rows of cells that form a continuous tube running the whole length of the plant. The xylem vessels are made of elongated dead cells that are impermeable to water and have walls containing lignin, a woody material. Because of this, xylem vessels are tough, which is why the vascular bundles in the roots are in the center. They help prevent the plant being pulled out of the ground. They are also more protected in the center. Whereas the stem has to resist being squashed and bent, and so it has the vascular bundles nearer to the edge to give the stem strength and support. The phloem vessels are made up of living cells. They transport sucrose and amino acids up and down the plant, depending upon where they are needed. Whereas in the xylem, the movement is just one way, from the roots up to the leaves. So we know that water and minerals go up the xylem, and amino acids and glucose go up and down the phloem. But how? In the second part of this video, we are going to look at the xylem and transpiration.
Okay, so that's the basic. And now this other one is going to show us
when plants appear on the land for the very first
with the example of a plant.
These plants. So the question, the biggest challenge that these, for example, consider my house plant. In order for this plant to stay alive, all the parts of it require food and water and minerals so that they can grow. But where are they available? Now you might know that most of the water and the minerals are available in the soil. So the soil contains water and it has minerals in it. Minerals. And the plants have roots which can absorb these water and minerals.
Okay, so here we see the plant
But what about the rest of the part of the plants, like the leaves? How do they get that water?
showing that the plant
Well,
needs water and
see,
minerals.
The plants need to transport that water from the roots all the way to the leaves and all the other parts. So can you see that a transport system is needed to transport this water and its dissolved minerals up, right? Similarly, think about food. How do plants get their food? You might know that they photosynthesize. They use the energy of the sun to create their own food. And most of this photosynthesis happens in the leaves. Okay? So let's say some of the food is synthesized in these leaves. Consider these are food. Okay, these are basically sugars. Let's just call them as food as of now. Now, what about the parts of the plants that cannot photosynthesize? For example, roots can't photosynthesize because they're under the ground, they're not exposed to sunlight. There may be certain growing parts of the plant which might require this food because they cannot photosynthesize. Maybe there are some leaves somewhere which are in absolute shade and because of which they are not able to photosynthesize.
Okay, so here what they are telling us, the basics is the plant needs water which contains minerals which always is found in the soil. So we need to transport, to move the water from the soil going up the tree to the leaves. So that's where we need the xylems to move up the water to the leaves, okay? So once water gets to the leaves, in the leaves, that's where food is made. The food, the nutrients for the plant is made through the process of photosynthesis. With the sunlight, the water with minerals, and the carbon dioxide makes food. And that food now, there are some parts of the plant that cannot photosynthesize. Like the stem cannot make food, the roots cannot make food, new shoots that are coming up, they cannot make food. So we'll need the food that is made in the leaves, like what is pointed there, to move to other parts so that the cells there, they can live. So that's where the phloem now takes the food to other parts which cannot perform photosynthesis. Okay? So these are the two systems. One taking water up and the other one taking food to different parts of the plant. That's what we call the transportation system.
So again, what to do? We need a transport system. The food needs to get transported to the different parts. So again, the food needs to get transported down, maybe to the root sometimes. It might have to get transported up to some other parts. So can you see a transport system is necessary without which these plants cannot. It becomes super slow and it on it for all the leaves, but it goes to each and every leaf. They look like pipes. So piping system through which they can move the food and water all around their body. And what do these vascular tissues look like? Well, just like the name suggests, they look like pipes. So pipes which start from the roots. So let me show you the roots. And so pipes that start from the roots and go all the way to each and every leaf. I've not shown it for all the leaves, but it goes to each and every leaves. But wait, you may be thinking, how can we use one pipe to transport both food and water? Won't they get mixed up? Well, to make sure they don't get mixed up, we have two separate piping systems, one for water and one for food. And we give them names. So the piping system that we use for water is called xylem. So xylem transports water and the dissolved minerals. Okay, when we say water, it already has dissolved minerals. And for for food, we have another tissue called phloem. Oops. It's phloem. And this one transports food, mostly sugars, but it can also transport other things like hormones, amino acids, and other stuff, but mostly food. And the way I like to remember this, I remember watching this in some
Okay, so basically this is what we are talking about. I want us to understand what pipe means. Right, can you read this word? What is it? Right, so those the whole, that's the pipes. The phloem and the xylems are those pipes. Are we together? That move fluids up and down. Do we understand? Are we understanding? How chai? Right, who understands? You raise up your hand if you understand. Who is understood? Did you understand? Did you understand? Did you? Anyone who understands this concept? Who can want to tell us what's happening here? Even in Thai, you can explain in Thai what is happening here. Anyone who wants to come and try? Come. Right, who wants to come and explain this process? Anyone wants to come and try? You're afraid? Come. No. No one. I was going to give you a present, so tough luck. Right, so let me explain for the last time. So we are saying we've got tiny pipes inside the plant. One of them is called the xylem. It carries water from the roots going up. Then the other pipes are called the phloems that take food to the different parts of the plant. So this is the transportation system that we are talking about. You also saw that the roots and the stem have got a different structure of the xylem and the phloems, because underground they need to be protected from damage. Then they also need to support the plant. So that does it for today. This brings us to the end of our lesson. Right, but before we end our lesson, what I want to do is I'm going to give you some group work. Okay, right, you bring it next week. You bring it next week. Okay, it's homework. You just do it. The answers are at the back. Right, listen. Your answers are here. You look for answers here at the back. Yeah. You choose answers to complete. Okay? You choose answers here. Right. Okay, good day, class. See you next week. Bye-bye.